Hello, am I audible? Yeah, yeah. So I'll just screen share. Is my screen visible? Yeah, yeah. Sorry for the screen share not working. So I'll continue where I left off. So we were talking about the apps built with React. For example, Netflix is built with React, Instagram is built with React, the WhatsApp web is also built with React, along with Spotify is also built with React. So before moving on to the next concepts, let's just install Node.js on our computer. And for that, let's go to node.js.install. To get this, you just have to go and search Node.js install. Just go on to the first result and download the LTS version. Then just click on the installer. I have already installed mine, so I'll just explain to you what Node does. So Node is a JavaScript runtime. So whatever normally JavaScript runs on your browser. To make it run on your computer, we have Node.js. It's a runtime, so you can run JavaScript on your computer. And we need it for React because we need the npm node package manager so that we can use code that are written by other people and we can just use those modules. So after your node.js is installed, there are a few errors that are very common. For example, if you haven't enabled other scripts running, you can just look up those errors, and if nothing works, just restart your PowerShell or just restart your computer once, and then I think Node.js and npm will work. So just to confirm once that you have npm installed, just go and check with node dash dash version. This should give you something like this, and also just try npm and see if it works. So before moving on to our next section, let's just make a new React app. So for this, I would assume that you would have VS Code downloaded. If not, you can download your VS Code, and I'll just open VS Code once. So after you get into your VS Code, just go on to the website of Tailwind CSS. Just for we'll be using Vite, the bundler Vite and Tailwind. That is why we'll also install Tailwind right now. Even if you don't understand what it is, just go along and follow these steps. First of all, just do this npm create vite at latest. This will what this does is it will create a vite app and first of all just check in React, then choose JavaScript because we will be using JavaScript. Then roll down with no, then install with npm yes. Here npm create my project is the name of your project. Here it will make a new folder for you and it will install the dependencies. So we let it install and this is the IP that it will be showing your app at. So just open it up. So this is the starter project. This comes in with every Vite install. You can just go and look. These are the scripts that are of React. It is dev. Wait a second. These are the normal scripts that you can use right now. So one of those is npm run dev. So let's just close this. And for now, let's just continue the installation. After this, we'll install the modules for Tailwind and Tailwind CSS/Vite. Just go here and install this. NPM is the node package manager. We'll be installing Tailwind CSS and Tailwind CSS/Vite packages. After this, just configure these in vite.config. After this, we can just remove the basic boilerplate that we have. So I'll just go here and move this. And I'll just put an h1 tag and hello world here. I'll be removing all the styling that has already been applied and just use this @import tailwind CSS. After this, our app should now we'll run our app and see the changes. Wait, I have to go into the folder that is made. Just go into the folder. This is the name of the folder that you choose in the beginning of the installation. We'll go inside and just run the script npm run dev. So here we have it, hello world. And let's just quickly check if our tailwind is working right now. Text black. So as we can see, our text font just increased. This means our Tailwind CSS is working right now. So I'll just go ahead and tell you what some of these things are. So we use Node Package Manager and it initialized this package.json. It already gives us a few scripts such as npm dev, build, lint, and preview. You can use these scripts just by writing npm run and you can choose one of these. And other than that, there's app.jsx and main.jsx. This has already linked a few style sheets. We won't need most of those because we will be using Tailwind for styling. So this is the basic React app. And so we should now continue over to our other core components. So one of the main concepts in React is our components. If we look at any websites, we can see that it is divided in components. For example, I'll just open YouTube. If we go ahead and see, then we can see that some of these things are looking the same. For example, this video along with a title and this is the same design for all three of these components. And the same repeats down here also. So if we are making it without using components or something else, what we have to do is we have to make this, we'll make changes, then we'll copy paste it again and again. That would be tedious and it will require a lot more work. And an easier and efficient way would be to make one component and use it across. So to do this in React, we use components. So I'll just show you how to make a component once. So to make a component, go here to your SRC folder, click here and make a component. For example, let's just make a card. We'll name it with uppercasing for the first letter. And the extension should be JSX. And if you don't have the extension for a JavaScript component, just go ahead and install this extension. JSX JS snippets. Go ahead and install this so that you can easily get this function right here. So what this does is it imports React. You actually don't need this, so I'll just remove this. It exports a function named cards. Inside it, we are just exporting a div with, let's just say, component. And we'll make use of this div in the main part. Port component. So now it has imported card and we'll make use of it over here. Card, and we'll select this. So here we have it, component. So if we want more cards, we can just go ahead and paste this again and again. So we have these many. If we were to do it the old-fashioned way and just copy paste these, it would look more uglier and would be more difficult to work with. So that is why it's way easier to just use components. So let's just go ahead and see a few more theoretical slides about this. So what are components? So everything in React is made using mostly components. What it does is it bakes the UI into smaller pieces that we can put together and make a website. It's like using Lego blocks to build a whole Lego set. So this makes the code more organized and easier to work with. For example, if you have a bigger website, you can just divide it into components and give the work to different people just to complete those components. This makes collaboration more easier and simpler. Even especially when you're working with bigger teams, this becomes crucial. And moving on, we have different components. For example, some components that you use everywhere. For example, nav bar, card components, and button components. And from here, I think Sanjana, can you continue?
Yeah, I'll take over now.
Yeah.
So, you would have heard a lot of terms thrown like tailwind and all. So, now we'll dive into the basic fundamentals, which will help us to build the front end of a website. All right. So, the one of the most important ideas over here in React is JSX. So, what is JSX? It looks like HTML. So, HTML is hypertext markup language, but JSX is actually JavaScript with HTML like syntax. So, this is what makes React a very powerful resource. So, what it allows you to do is it lets you write your code directly inside JavaScript files. So, your UI and logic live together in a singular place instead of being split across different files. So, another advantage that JavaScript has is it allows JavaScript expressions directly inside that particular layout, like I mentioned. So, once you get used to JSX, writing UI in React feels very comfortable and it's more easy to understand. Moving on to the next slide. In the next slide, now we'll be comparing HTML and JSX. So HTML is a markup language. So HTML is basically used to define the structure of what your web page is like. So it is usually written directly in the browser and it is more static. That is, once you load your page, the content of your page does not change unless you reload that page. However, if you use JSX, which is used in React and is written inside JavaScript, the UI and code live together in one place, so you can dynamically change the content. Moving on to the next slide. Okay, now we'll look at props. So props is basically properties, and we're talking about passing data. So how they are used to pass data from a parent component to the child component. So we talked about components earlier, right? So think of props as an input to your particular component. So you can customize your component without changing the internal code of it. So props are read only. That is, if you use a child component, you cannot modify it later. So this ensures that your code is very clean. So we'll take an example over here. So if you have a particular button component, right, so you can display different text or different colors over here just by changing the button components. So over here you have a parent component called button, and in the child component you can change the different properties of that particular button. Moving on. Okay. Making our UI interactive. So your UI right now does not really do anything by itself. So there are different type of events which ensures that the user, the person who's using that website, can interact with it. So basically there are different they allow React to respond to different actions, like if you have to click a particular button or you have to fill in a particular form or submit a form. So we'll be looking at that in our live demo as well. So React uses a few event handlers which are similar to JavaScript, but they are written in camel case. So every time a user interacts with the user interface, there is an event. So that event helps React to know what they're going to do next. So we'll be looking at a few common events in the next slide. All right. So we have three common events over here. So on click is triggered when a user clicks an element. So it can be anything as simple as a button. Then we have on change, and this is used to detect your changes in any sort of input fields. And again, this is very common in forms. Then on submit, it's similar to your submit button, or it runs when a form is finally submitted. So these are the events that I was talking about, and they allow us to control how the user interacts with the website and updates the UI based on what the user clicks. Moving on. All right. So React state. So, what is state? So, state is the basic memory of a particular component. It stores data that can change over a period of time, like it can be values or it can be some sort of a toggle. So, whenever the state changes, React will automatically re render that component. So, this, as I mentioned earlier, is the advantage that React offers. But instead of reloading the page, React only updates the parts which are actually changed. So this makes your website run very smoothly and run in a very fast manner. So we have an example over here. So in this example, we've used useState. So it shows how a React component stores and updates data using state. In this, the component has a value called count. The count value starts from 0. So React will remember this value even after the component is re-rendered. When you click that particular button, the count value is increased by one value. So updating the state will automatically update the UI. So in this case, you don't need to refresh the page again and again. React will handle the rendering in that particular manner using state. So this is how you can manage dynamic data inside components. Moving on. All right. Now, side effects with use effect. So, not everything in your React app is about showing what the UI will look like in the screen. So, there are some things which need to run in the backstage, which needs to run in the background. So, we use effect over here for certain background tasks. So, let's say it runs after a particular component is shown in your screen. Again, over here we have an example. In this, use effect runs some code when the component loads for the first time. So here it only runs once and it does not keep on running again and again. So this is useful for things if you have to fetch data from an API or if you have to start something like timers. So even when use effect is running, the UI will work normally itself. So again, this is used to keep our code clean and the background logic separate. So we have in this example, it runs code when the component loads and it only runs once. Moving on. Tailwind. So Tailwind CSS is a different way of writing styles. So instead of making separate CSS files, which can make our code a little bit messy, we use ready-made class names directly inside our JSX. So each class does one small job, like you can add space, you can maybe change the color, or you can change the alignment or the padding. So because everything is written in the same file, you don't have to keep on shifting again and again from your HTML file to your CSS file. So this ensures that the development is faster and it's easier to manage. Tailwind also helps to keep your design consistent because we can reuse the same classes everywhere, like Shaurya mentioned earlier. So again, once you get comfortable with it, you'll find it much easier than a traditional CSS. Over here, we've added a snippet of how we've used Tailwind CSS. So over here we have the outer div. It uses Flex. So Flex is used to arrange your content. Then you have Justify Center, which centers the content in a horizontal manner. Then Item Center will center it vertically. And Edge Screen makes the div take the maximum or full height of that particular screen. So this code will basically ensure that that particular component or hello tailwind that we mentioned over here is exactly in the middle of the screen. Moving forward. All right, now we have a few learning resources. So, if you want to continue learning React, official React documentation is the best starting point. So, usually these documentations are very in depth and you can read them again and again. And they have examples as well. So, you can try and understand everything by reading them. And the best way to learn something is by building a small project. Maybe it can be something like a weather app or a to-do list. So it helps you understand the basic crux and the basic concepts of different things. And then again, you can go for different YouTube videos which will help explain a particular concept in depth if you are not able to understand it. YouTube is the best method to understand it and do it while you're watching that particular video. now we'll be going ahead and building a very simple website. So, since we've covered the core concepts, you'll learn how to apply them. Uh, yeah, Upayan will take over now.
Is my screen visible? Is my screen visible? Can someone just type it in the chat? Okay, so let's begin by creating a React app. So we'll be using the framework called Byte for routing and Tailwind for styles. So three main websites you could refer to is react.dev for React, and Byte has like most of the resources for routing and the other add-ons you can use for React, and styles like we will be using Tailwind for that. So like Shaurya showed before, I'll be creating a new project. Uh, so the command for creating a Byte app is npm create byte at the latest, and whatever you want to name your project. So we'll go with my project, and we'll be using the React framework and JavaScript works. Yeah. So this gives you the localhost dev server. So basically, like any change you make in your file, right, it immediately like updates the website that's locally hosted, your dev server basically. So let's just see what we have here. So Byte config, it has your configuration information for your website. Uh, Package.json has your scripts, dependencies. This was already covered. And so public has its static assets like images, videos, fonts, etc. Those go inside public. And the SRC, right? It's the source code. So what we have here is the page for the home page, like which appears here. Okay. At the base, the most home page. And yeah, so CSS and all of here. So let's just install Tailwind into this application now. Yeah, so we have already created an application using this command. So let's just add Tailwind to it. So we'll first stop the dev server. Right now we're here, so we should go inside the my project directory. So change directory, my project. So here are all your files that are relevant to your project. So here you can just run this command npm install tailwind css and tailwind css for byte. Once these dependencies are installed, they should show up here. And after that, we will mount the dependencies basically inside the byte configuration file. So just go inside the byte config file and see it already imports the React framework. And now we will also import Tailwind CSS into it. And see, we have to use this plugin, Tailwind CSS. So it has this plugins array. So inside it, just type in this one. And yeah, we're good to go. Oh wait, you have to also use the import for Tailwind CSS in your font file. So the global font file basically, which is applied to all your pages. So we'll just go to the very top and we'll paste this line here. So now your Tailwind CSS is installed. Byte now uses it, and your global CSS now actually uses the font styles of Tailwind. All these steps have to be followed. So if we do implement dev now, yeah, this project now has Tailwind CSS. So, yeah, let's go. So these things are done. So this was your home page as I showed earlier, and you can actually see like if I make a small change here. So edit src app.jsx with tab save and save to test HMR. So if I just remove this, save. Just a second. Yeah. So now whenever you make changes to this, it will also like reflect in the live preview server like this instantly. You just have to save it. That's it. And this also has a demonstration for the use state hook of React. So basically, what we use state is for like state management, like values and stuff. But use effect is for the actions you run basically. Uh, you can set as a count and set count function for that, and the values initiates to 0. And whenever you click on it, it just like increases the value of count, and the button it itself has the value of the count variable. That is it. Maybe we'll just discard of this now and just create a simple website for us. Right? So let's just go here and create a function tag. And inside this, you can just create a return statement. Now, whatever is your content for the page, you just put it inside the return statement. So def sets up h1. H1 is the top level heading. So test page. And also, you have to do the export default function basically. So it's treated as a page. Yeah. So it's now page for the home page basically. And if you want to apply classes of the event, you just go ht bg, say you want to use blue, say 600. Yeah, it's this one now. Yeah, now it's using the full height of the screen and full width of the screen, and it is the background color set to 600. You can change values of the tailwind styles using different values. Yes. Okay, so that's for the dev, the main dev. So like Shaurya showed before, components, right? So suppose we have this home page, right? So I'll just call this the home page, and we'll have some content here, say like paragraph, projects compared with Fleet, React, and Tailwind CSS. This is our home page, and we'll also have a second page. I don't know, call it about app.jsx. So suppose I want to create a component, say for header, right? Yes. So we want to create a component. So this is a component. You will use a component like wherever you use it, right? So let's just create a header and my project header. Now this kind of works. Now this is not yet mounted on the page. So the page is inside the app.jsx, but you also have to update the structure for it. So header um, yeah, project header is at the top now. Now the main.jsx, however you mount it, this will be shared across all your pages. So be careful with that. Like this is common to all the pages, but this is just for the page you have. Yeah, this kind of looks good. And for the header, let's just use yeah. Yeah, so for the header, we have the page, and that's the CSS styles we have. So there are a lot more. There are a lot of other CSS classes you can use attainment, such as text white. We already have white. Let's just use green. You can see any other sheets you like. This is 500. So that's that. Uh, if you know about anchor tags, then those are just used for links. So you would prefer to use a anchor tag instead of a button for links in most of the cases. So basically, A and href is a link you go to when you click on it, and the class is applied. And then here, the child of the anchor tag is the content. Is the content that you show basically. So when I click on it, it opens a page. That's that. Okay, so suppose you want to show icons. So a good resource for that is React. It's a icon library you can install into your project. So yeah, this one. You can just use npm then npm install Lucid React. So this is how you add dependencies. So for the one we're using now, it's for icons. It's an icon package. So it's installed now. Yeah. So if we were to show icons, uh, just import say GitHub like system and GitHub. So this is how you basically use it. Yeah, but you can actually see this like a streak through it, so it's basically depreciated. So let's just use some other. Um, it's fine to use this one. That's about IP packs. And, you have all this also for components. You can also like modularize a page. So it's not necessary that you create only components for the uh, sections that are repeated across all pages. You can just break your page down into smaller chunks and then mount it into the page itself in the same page. It's like modular and it's like way easier to maintain it that way. So suppose your home page, this one, right? It has a lot of sections. It becomes like a real hassle to work with them. So just like create, suppose you have a about uh, an about section basically. So just create like default function about, and you create some content which works for you. So we have a about component. We have a FAQ.jsx. So this is the home page, right? So we can just break it down in chunks, like I said, and put the about, then include FAQ, and wherever you feel like they should be placed on the page. So suppose I want to show it before the GitHub icon and after this. I'll just place them here. Here, about I'll put here, and FAQ I'll place it here. Yeah, that's that. As you can see, I made a mistake. I had red screen set here, so that's looking at this piece. And same for the other two. So these are how you mount basically components into the page. And for CSS, these are the styles that are applied to all the pages basically. So the root is applied to the entire page basically, and then you have body heading tags like H1 is the top level heading, then you have H2, H3, H4 up to H6, so on. Buttons are there. You can add hover effects also. So if you check the button, we do not have a button yet. So if it is show a button, simple button, I think. Yeah. So if you go over it, it has this effect. See, it has this border color now. And media queries, you would use those for stuff like your device theme or screen widths, etc. To make it responsive. Any images you have here, you would place it and you would use it. I'll show you how. So let's just use the image tag. So basically the image what it requires is a source file. So you can use the slash this way. So it's slash white.svg, which is basically the path it's inside public. So if I were to like place it inside some test folder, and say I'm going to use the same file itself. I'll rename it to something like car. Okay, it's a car.svg. So I'll just have to use test car.svg, and the classes you apply to the image, and the alt text. Alt text is like if the image somehow fails to load. So yeah, the image is loaded here. Also, if you want to use any other image like from any place like online, okay, you can just use a URL for that, like say car. So I just copy the image address for this, and you can just um, copy image address. So you can just use the image like that, and it's breaking the layout a bit. So yeah, so we have a car now. It's functional, and all this is there. So we now know how to use image tags. Also, there are flex boxes. So I'll show you how to use those. Basically, there are two types of flexes you can use, like according to like how you want it to flow. So there's flex row, and there's flex column. So if you want to show anything like this, so left side and right side, yeah. So basically, it's just going to flow from the left to the right. That's how it, that's what flex does. And instead, if you wanted to use flex, say column, right? So it's going to flow like from top to down. So let's use it like this. It's on the top and it's on the bottom. Uh, these are tailwind classes, tailwind handy. There are grids also you can use. You can adjust the gaps, the top margin, everything. It's yeah, pretty useful like that. And that kind of wraps it for the session. If there are any queries, you can just put them in the chat, or if you would like to know more about something, you know.
So if there are no more questions, I'll just show the QR for attendance.
So the EXE students can scan the QR code to mark your attendance, And in the meanwhile, if you have any questions, you can type it in the comment section. We'll take them up.